ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Namaste. We are heading towards next week Deepavali. In just a couple of days, it's going to be there. Wish you all a very, very happy Naraka Chaturdashi and also Deepavali. It's actually there's a battery of festivals. That was the time. And already we had a series of festivals about the Vijayadashami. So it is something which is really extraordinary. I was reading one small little article. It was very nice, very eye-opener. That is, these people who are making such a big issue about Diwali, crackers, this, that, and disturbing the birds, disturbing the animals, etc., all these things, and creating air pollution, so many things that were appearing. And that article said something which I can also subscribe for whatever the ideas that the article has given. Something is that look at the amount of crackers that was bombs that were burnt, that were burst in Ukraine and also in Gaza and all these places that is there. And every time that between India and Pakistan, the war comes and all that. And look at the crackers that they burn at the time of whenever that any particular team wins either cricket or the football, etc. Compared to that, just look at the amount of crackers that you present and uh, the Diwali time. It was actually meant for joy. In fact, the type of crackers that we burn at the Diwali time, actually I burn in my house. Another 10 houses later, they only hear a small little sound. Whereas the bombs that would it shatters the window panes, shatter the houses, everything that happened. Big multi-story buildings will come down, and nothing will happen to the ozone layers. Nothing will happen to the birds. Nothing will happen to those things when the wars do all those things. These people who are conscious of this, they should go to these war people and say that, all right, you fight the war like earlier times that you have the bow and arrow. In fact, you can try all those things. You don't have to burn all these crackers. First of all, we should stop all this Nobel Prize and that fellow who created that the uh, gun powder because of which all these things happened. This is meaningless. It's all basically a constant an attack on the Indian culture, Indian festivity that's going on. I remember during those days when we were small, we used to make crackers at home. We used to buy the small little gunpowder and then put all those things together and then it would just burst. That was the same thing. And today, the same cracker that is there, it's just so simple. They're so, in fact, compare taken this in context of the work that I was doing in the project area where we used to burst the uh, crack the tunnels that we used to do it, and then we used to put this battery of the charges that are there in the tunnel, and then we used to fire them so that you can make the tunnel. And the same thing is happening today on the roads. And each time that we load the number of gelatin that in the tunnel that we used to have, it is almost like a million times a household cracker that we do it. I know that. And then we were doing all those things in the name of progress of the nation. When we did all those things, it was not a problem. Whereas today we burn the crackers at household and then some full jadi and all that we do it. And then becomes an obstruction for us. I would say that let's celebrate. Let's have all these things. Let's not be carried away by all these statements of what is called as eco-friendly, environmental, and then all this injury to the animals, etc. Let's forget about all those things. it is basically the attack on our Indian culture, Indian celebration that was going on. But on the other hand, I would like to suggest one more thing about that Diwali is that as much as possible, don't unnecessarily buy the things and all that. Every festival is where you sit down and do a lot of physical activity. That is what Narada says. Puja Dishu Anuragayiti. That means to say, every activity that we do in the name of the festival is supposed to be puja. In fact, I tell you that, like Ganesha Puja, right from the time that you go to the Ganesha's store and get the Ganesha to bringing home and all that, it's already the puja started. In fact, I would go one step ahead saying that the very thought of getting Ganesha, the sankalpa that comes from you, sankalpa is the way that the puja starts. In fact, is it not that way that when you go to any festival, that any puja that you are doing, the priest first of all says that let's take the sankalpa. And then he says Om Prana Swaha, Apana Swaha, Udara Swaha, Samana Swaha, and then Brahmane Swaha, and then sankalpa starts. So that means from that moment, the sankalpa that I would like to go and get the Ganesha, the sankalpa starts. Same way for the Diwali also. Let's go and get the things, make preparations of all those things, items that are there. It's the question is that the people will sell it, they sell it. Don't worry about it. But we have to involve in doing it. This karma is the aspect of puja that we are doing. This is what actually the way Narda presented it. Those who are actually involved in the activity that you do it, for them, for karma pradhana, for them he has given the puja. And that puja is divided into so many things, so many components that are there. All those components are part of the wonderful celebration that we are doing. There is nothing short of celebration. It's not just only when you sit in front of the god and put the akshata and put the flower, that's only celebration, or take the arati, that's only celebration. That's only the puja. But the puja is that right from the time that you have a sankalpa to the finish. That's what is basically the way. Another very important aspect is that you do it. It is for your satisfaction, for your involvement that you do it. So therefore, it is purely very, very personal activity. And this in Grihastha very important way that they have created all these puja aspects of it in such a way that Grihastha is a wonderful place for celebrations. And we are in this particular month. And for this particular celebration, we require some reason or the other, some event or the other. So the event has been that there was one particular Asura by name Narakasura, and then Krishna went and killed him. Actually, it's not the Krishna, actually, it's Satyabhama who fought with him. All that is there. Let's not worry about it. It doesn't. An X has been killed by a Y, something like that. But he was bad. The bad is eliminated by the good. So therefore, we celebrate. That is the only thing that we do it. And if you learn the stories of it, if you learn the Puranas about it, it's wonderful. But more important thing is that the celebration has to be in such a way that life is full of celebration. That we need to understand. So that's why wish you all a very, very happy Diwali, Deepavali. Let us have that kind of a thing. Bring the people, get the guests. You also go there and share the ideas, share the sweets that you give it to others, and then take the sweets from the others. So that what happens is that let's try to enjoy it. That's a very, very important aspect of it. These festivals are the things which gives a positivity about the life that we live. And that is what the essential feature of this particular culture. You see that in the other cultures, we have one festival a year, two festivals here, whereas in Sanatana Dharma, we have hundreds of festivals. Every time, every week that we have some festival or the other. Let's try to work on that. So once again, wish you all a very, very happy uh, Naraka Naraka Chaturdashi and also Deepavali for all of you. Wish you all the best. And now we are slowly marching on to the uh, Grasthashrama to Sannyasa, the Vanaprasthashrama. One very important difference that I would like to, as I also mentioned, now also I would like to mention, that is The idea called as the retirement is equated to vanaprastha many times. I say that there is such a big difference between that. Actually, before somebody gets retired, he is elevated to the high post and all that. In fact, they say that another 1 year for retirement, let him become a technical director or this director, that director, then we will retire him. As if anyway he is retiring, let us take him to Everest and then push them from there. If a lower peak he push him, he doesn't get so much hurt, whereas higher peak that you push him, he'll get greater hurt. Actually, that's what happens. He feels that afterwards, that when he went back, when he goes back to the office, the same people who are working under him, they do not respect him. Even then, even when he was the technical director or the highest position, whatever it is there, everybody knows in the office this man is going to last for another 1 year. So everybody's mind has thinking, okay, let's wait for 1 year. See, what is the kind of thing that you are inviting about that? So that way, it is something like which is not very happy idea about that. And that 1 year that he is in the high position, the for the name's sake that he's in the position, but otherwise he is planning how to take care of his wealth, how to take care of his stay, how to take care of his daughter's wedding. All these things will be there in the mind. Really, office work will not be done in that sense. So you look at all these things that is there. Whereas we never had the idea of retirement at all. Only retirement we have is when you die. And that also we say that the death is the beginning of a new life. Because after the death to the next life, you have nothing else. So you come back with the same whatever that you left this place and come back again. So whatever investment that you do in this life becomes like the beginning of the next life. So therefore, that says that how we have to go towards that. And that scheme that they have given is the idea of grahastha to vanaprastha to sannyasa. So that means actually that you have graduated yourself from the grahastha to get into the vanaprastha. It's a very important aspect, very important step. Are we really graduating? Actually, I said that when from the idea of uh, um, the earlier that brahmacharya to grastashrama, I said there is so much of learning, so much of those things, and then you are technically equipped yourself, you are able to sustain yourself, sustain the family, sustain the society. All those things you have actually earned. So you are successful, you are qualified to have dharma, artha, kama, all these things you are qualified. And that's the reason why basically that the brahmacharya ashrama is such an important ashrama to qualify you to have that artha, dharma, artha and kama so that you can have moksha. The dharma. So those things you have to put in the form of a dharma. That's why we had given this idea of the the Snatakotsa mantras, where you are given responsibilities how you carry yourself in the Grasthashrama. Because Grasthashrama is such an extraordinary, wonderful position that where it supports the brahmacharya and it also supports the vanaprastha and sannyasa, and it also is the pivotal, it is also the main pillar on which Sanatana Dharma is standing. In fact, Sanatana Dharma is not really standing on the brahmacharya ashrama, not really standing on sannyasas, but it is really standing on the grahastha. That's why grahastha is somebody who has to take care of the Sanatana Dharma. Therefore, he has provided himself with all those things. That's why, the Snatakotsa mantras, they say that, come on, you have to produce, you have to create that world is prosperous. Who will do that prosperity of the world? How much that you produce. And in fact, that's what we have such examples in Ramayana that when Rama comes back after 14 years to Ayodhya and Bharata gives the account of what all happened in Ayodhya in 14 years and then give a whole account. That's what is the Grahasthashrama. It says that the crops have increased 100 times more production and we have built so many houses, we see so many things. All those things happened. In fact, the whole list he has gives how much he has progressed. And the progress happened in the Grasthashrama. This is what is the thing. I said Grasthashrama itself divided all these four different varnas so that you take care of dhartha and you take care of kama. All those things you take care of. That's why we have the whole idea of four varnas. So that means how important it is to see that we make progress, produce a lot, and distribute a lot. That's what is the idea that we had in the Grasthashrama. And also that you enjoy. Not only that you are producing all those things, you should create the joy of taking up everything that is there. Even the festivals are something that you joy in not only enjoying, but in distributing all that joy. It's a part of the Grasthashrama. We did all that. So that's why Grasthashrama has become so. There is nothing uh, is, in fact, he says that Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Dharma aviruddho kamosmi bharatarshava. Krishna says that I am the kama, which is not opposite to dharma. That means to say, dharma, karma, kama is accepted. Dharma aviruddho kamosmi bharatarshava. And that's the reason why we have, when somebody gets married, we did not discourage. Marriage is an extraordinary, wonderful festival and celebration. And at that time, the elders will bless the person, people getting married. You will have 100 children. That means what? It does not just happen from the sky. It's not from the tree that you have 100 children. You have to participate in the activity. So therefore, it is something which is extraordinary. But only thing is very clearly Krishna says, dharma aviruddha. That means it is not opposite to dharma. That kind of karma. In fact, if I go on telling about that, the way that they have given us, such an extraordinary thing they have given. You say you have so many children that you have, but how do you have the children? I tell you, there is one very important statement that comes in the Puranas, in one of the Bhagavatam that comes, is that if you have a child even before the marriage, even that child is also legitimate, because basically that you are agreed to marry and then somehow the marriage could not take place, but then you are already a child. That's why he says that kanyadana kalambanam pradhama putrunduno. In fact, even before the kanyadana takes place, and then even that son is also supposed to be your own son, legitimate. So that means to say how much they have encouraged these ideas to see that how life has to become like a celebration. And we have such an example in front of us. In fact, we call ourselves as Bharata Desha, Bharata Khanda. And where is that name Bharata comes from? It comes from Shakuntala's son Bharata. And Shakuntala Dushyanta, they got into the engagement in such a way that Bharata was born. And Dushyanta forgot about it for some reasons or the other. Before they're getting married, actually, that he was born, Bharata was born. And this Bharata Vamsha is that. So that means to say, but then only one thing they said, that you have legitimately have that child to see that you take care of that child. And such a extraordinary, wonderful celebration of that Bharata, that he carried the name for this whole Bharata Varsha, Bharata Khanda. So that is how basically that we have accepted this karma. That means to say enjoy, but at the same time, it is not aviruddha. That means it's not against dharma. Then we have produced all this material, wonderful material that is there. We were never against it. I don't know, somehow people, they created, this is all, I get irritated when people say that this is all materialistic. I'm spiritual. What is material? What is not material? We produce the best of the architecture. We produce the best of the material. We knew about the metallurgy much before anybody knew. We had the Vimana Shastra. We developed the aeroplanes. In fact, if you go to Sri Lanka, that you see where Ravana's palace is there, at that place there are the parking place for 8 planes. Can you imagine that? And they produced a plane which is supposed to be landing vertically. It did not have to have a runway. All these things are there very clearly given in this case. We were progressing. We were definitely. Some people say that India was spiritual. That's why we did not have progress. We did not progress because that somebody meddled with our this culture. Otherwise, progress is ours. Today we are doing it. So therefore, all these things were there, progress. But that means to say, you get actively involved in all those things. Then slowly what has to happen, and this is what is abhyasa. Abhyasa is something which is growing. Together with that, vairagya has to be there. In fact, if you don't have that vairagya along with abhyasa, the yoga journey is not complete. That's why Krishna says, abhyasena tu kaunteya, vairagyena tu gruhyate. Vairagya is supposed to be there. You have everything. You have produced everything. You have all this, but at the same time, can you grow above that? Like the way that a child has all the playthings, and we design wonderful playthings for the child and we give them play, but then the child has to outgrow. And if the child does not outgrow, if he still holds on to all that playthings and all that, I think you will go to a psychiatrist and to see that why the child growth is not happening. You want him to grow out of those things. The same way that when you want child to grow from the brahmacharya ashrama to grahastha ashrama, don't you want to see that somebody has to grow from grahastha to vanaprastha? And that vanaprastha, why it is not directly sannyasa? Because vanaprastha is a place where now there are two aspects of it. One is that the material aspect of it, the actual participation of activity part of it. The second thing is the philosophy behind it. Everything has a philosophy behind it. Now, slowly, what happens? All the experience that he has in producing as grahastha, with that he has acquired the whole philosophy behind it. So, next generation, actually, by the time that he becomes 50 years, 55 years, then the younger generation are ready to do the activity. Now, younger generation ready to do the activity, you have to hand over the activity to the younger generation so that you are behind them, holding the philosophy behind it. Why it is important is that you are from the old generation, you are from the 50 years group, whereas he is young, the world belongs to him. He lives a longer time in the world now, more than you. So he designs the world, he shapes the world the way that he wants to do it. In fact, many things that our children know it, we don't know it. Simple thing is cell phone. If something wrong with my mobile phone, I give it to my son. Please take care of it. Fix it. I'm grown out outside of it. This is what is the way that we need to go outgrow about it. Not only that I do it, even the other day I was saying, Sundar Pichai also he said that when I have to do something with my cell phone, my son will handle it, not me. Because I don't know how all the things work now, though he is the person who produced all those things. So it's way that we need to outgrow all these things. And that outgrowing is, it does not mean that you don't have the knowledge behind it. But then practical activity aspect of it, the children will do it. In fact, 7-year-old, 8-year-old child, he does it so fast, operate, you wonder the way that he does it. So that's why you allow him to grow, so that you grow to the next level. In two areas, we have grown to the next level. One is the area called as the technology, the science, which is external, and other is the internal experience. You have greater experience in the world. 50 years of experience you have done in the world. So you can really now become a expert in advising somebody. Somebody needs an advice, you are ready to give it. Otherwise, what happens is that the younger generation, they become panic. One small little simple thing happens that they become panic. Who has to give them that assurance? Don't panic, things will still work out all right. Is that you need to do it. And that both in terms of psychological support and also the material support. I always quote this example from Sulgaonkars, I heard somewhere, and they were sitting and doing a big meeting about investing some 10 crores or 100 crores in some business or something like that. And the senior Solgaonkar, he was sitting there and then, taking the tambaku like that. And then he was just like putting it in. I was quietly sitting for about 4 or 5 hours. They were discussed. And after that, one of the Solgaonkars asked the Tata, granddad, Dada, what did you say one word about this? He laughed. He said, what did I say? What I have to say? Wow. You see, 100 crores to put some in some investment, or either you put it or don't put it. And you wasted 5 hours for that reason. And you want I also to say, if you lose 100 crores, 100 crores is last. Finish. And then he gave the final word that was so important. He said that, you know what? I started this company with selling the lanterns on the street. From there, I built this company. Have that courage. See, a word of courage that is given by Solgaonkar. That's what is basically you go from the level of Grasta to Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is bundle of confidence. That is what he shares with the people. But then actually he does not get involved. That is the reason why we have such a extraordinary, wonderful mantra that comes from the one of the Upanishads, which says that Kaivalya Upanishad gives us this mantra. It says, Nakarmana naprajaya dhanena tyage naike amrutatva manushu. It's a very beautiful word because basically what happens is that until that you have material level, you're thinking still material is giving you happiness, material is giving necessity, give you comfort. All those things were there. Wonderful. That's why you produce wonderful material, your nice, wonderful houses, nice, wonderful vehicles, cars you acquired. All those things are wonderful. They're fine. But slowly, if you do not realize at the end of the day that they are not giving you the happiness, happiness is your own nature. They're necessities. They are requirements. You can play with them for some time. Like a nice, wonderful food will give you happiness, maybe for a few hours, a couple of hours. Once again, you feel hungry. And if you don't realize that in the lifetime, when will you realize? So he did not deny the karmanaha and then praja dhanena. That means wealth outside. He did not deny it. But only thing is that expecting that they will give you amritattva, it is wrong. Absolutely wrong. They are having the mruta quality themselves. Dying quality is there within them. Anything will die immediately. That's what is the material. So we make use of that only for that particular small little period. Don't look at that. The food that you take, it's a wonderful, lavish food that you're given, is going to satisfy your hunger forever. No, it's not going to satisfy your hunger. Similarly, a wonderful car that you buy, it's going to give you for eternity that a transport or the comfort that you want. No, it will also going to die. That's very nature of the material world itself. So therefore, what wants you want eternity is supposed to be amrutatva. And you are looking for amrutatva, it means death not being there. Amruta is death. Death not being there is amrutatva. And you are looking for amrutatva in the material world that is there outside. And especially it so happened these days that material world, earlier we used to have material, as material used to have a value. It was such a beautiful time. We didn't convert the material into money to get the value of it. It was valuable as material. Like for example, I have something, it material as it is valuable. That was slowly what happened. And those days we didn't have much of this money. And I remember very well, my father, he was a medical doctor. And then he would go around and give medicine to a few people where they cannot come to the hospital or something like that. He would go to their houses, suggest them what to be done. They are like friends. And he will tell them what to do and what the home remedy that he would do. And then he would go around some 10 houses and then come back. By 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, he comes to the clinic. There are some rickshaw pullers and then coolies, they were all waiting for him. There was a compounder that he was giving the medicine to them. And there was a box. And then they would put the coin, whatever that is that they can afford to, put it in this. There is no question of charges. They would take the money, they would take the medicine, put whatever the coin that is there, they would go. We were not really earning through that. But then my father also, when he was go around various places, he would not charge anything. He was like friends. They would go to them. But then when they have some produce in their farm, like rice is there, a bag of rice would come to our house. I remember that during the mango season, so many mangoes would come to the house that my father used to insist that you should at least eat 3 mangoes every day. So like that, we used to have it, and we didn't have any money. If I asked my father, give me some 10 rupees, he wouldn't have had money because we never converted our effort, we never converted our riches, everything in the form in terms of money. It was not money orientation. And everybody was like that. It was such a wonderful thing. I remember This Diwali we are coming, I remember that. One time during the Deepavali time, my father and mother, they were away. And myself, because of some emergency was there in our family, they went away. Myself and me, my brother, we were there at home. And we just didn't have any idea what Diwali. All that we had is that as it is holidays. And second thing is father and mother are not there. It is super holidays. So we could play all the time. So that was a simple equation for us. So we were playing. And then one of our teachers who was going by the side of the on the road, he looked at, hey, Deepavali today you are playing. Yeah, Deepavali. We are playing. Why? Appa Amma is not there. Father and mother is not there. What about the new clothes? I said, nothing. And just like this. They said, come with me. He took us, both myself and my brother, went to the shop and say, give them clothes for them. And the shop fellow gave us clothes. And then we came home and new clothes. We didn't charge. The shop fellow didn't charge anybody. He gave the clothes. And this teacher took us there. And then we had everything has happened. See, there's no question of money equation at all. This was the life that we had. One of the unfortunate things that happened is that everything is now equated to money. How much I really surprised the way that it is converted to money, that in I heard in America that you have to mow the lawn every month, every week, something like that, and then the son will mow the land and charge father for the mowing money. Ah, I was surprised at that. I was shocked at that. We didn't have that kind of culture. Even till today, I don't think we have any culture like that. When I require, my son will take me around everywhere he does. He never asks me a penny for that. It means like his own responsibility for that. We didn't convert. Now, as a result, every activity has been converted into money. Every material is converted into money. In this way, who is the casualty of all these things? I was thinking that the real casualty of all this converting everything into money is the housewife. Poor lady does so much work from morning to night, particularly if the house has some two, three younger siblings and all that, and children that are there and all that, taking them to school, doing all these things, and then arranging for, and festivals come, make all the arrangement for fest. All these things, so much of work, but then nobody pays her. In fact, these days, to say that I don't work, I'm a housewife, they feel ashamed of saying that. I heard one of the very good, very big mm, material management consultant by name Charu Rangnekar. I went to his talk, and such a beautiful talk he gave. If you want to learn material management, as the housewife, you have to learn material management from. A big professor, big management person, he was telling about that. And what is that? He says, look at the housewife, how simple it is. And we have to learn from her. What is that? Every month she get the grocery. It's not like today anywhere that you go get it. Or, this Amazon will bring and drop it and all that. Those days they have to get the money, the grocery from. And she would have a list of groceries, and then what are the items? Rice, these, that, pulse, which are there. She'll just blindfolded put that one 10 kilos, 5 kilos, whatever it is that she would put it. And then a festival is coming, Diwali is coming, so couple of two items. A guest is coming to the house, couple of two items. She adds all that. 30 items list she prepares in 2 minutes. Ingenious. Husband cannot do that. A husband who is an IAS officer cannot do that. See, that means what is an amount of extraordinary expertise that is there in the. And it's not only for us. I think I tell you, this is there all over the world. In fact, when I was talking to that one of our, you know, Germany hospitals directors and his wife, we were there together going somewhere. I said about this kind of a thing that housewife is the most important casualty in the whole converting into the form of money. Then that lady got now, she charged. She said, yes, Raghuram, what you say is so true. My husband gets up in the morning and then all the time, morning cup of coffee, then he's eating at the breakfast and then go for bath and all that. Goes on instructing me, go to the bank and do this thing, go to that and see that post and all those things. Like that, you go on giving instructions, at least 20, 30 instructions are there. Amidst, I'm preparing the children going for the school and all that, and all these instructions he gives. And he goes to the office. From the office at 10 o'clock, he calls me and said, "What are you doing?" As if I'm sitting idle. See, that means to say, the work that I do, even he doesn't even value it. So, whereas on the other hand, I hear also the same thing. People come for my satsang one day, the ladies who would come to the satsang, I said that what happened? A whole day, morning to evening, that there is some retreat or satsang that is there. I left home for my husband, so he will take care of. The son is supposed to go for ball game, this game, that game, and all that. What he has done? Nothing is done. Both of them, they order something from outside Swiggy and then eat, finish. Everything is dropped there. You just can't manage it. And you don't value for the housewife. So basically, what happened? Most important thing today that we have is converted everything into the money. Let's not give that value to the money. Give the value to the money as it deserves. It does not become anything more than that. Like, for example, a car. Car is necessary for transport. And you belong to a category of society, and then you have a car. Don't unnecessarily go for what is the cost of that car, this car, that car, all these things. Let's not worry about it. This is the wisdom that we travel from Grasta to Manaprastha. If you are able to do that, you have graduated to become Manaprasthi. Even at that level, if you are still calculating the money, if you're still calculating that how much you have to spend, how much you do all those things, you have not yet graduated to Vanaprastha. I've seen that something like that happening. Even in India, early, of course, it happens otherwise because they don't have any concept of growing up, whereas we have the concept of growing up. That's why we have such an extraordinary, wonderful statement saying that in life you build one house, finish. Next house or improvement of this, your son will take care of it. You don't do it. So this is what is the idea that we have. So that means to say, not by the activity, karmanaha. Karma will not give you the idea of amrutatva. Na karmanaha. Any activity that you do, type of activities that you do it. Involve yourself into all the kind of activity. Slowly what happens is karma becomes like your addiction rather than giving you freedom. People get addicted to that. Prajaya, that means children, or the popularity. Both these things are there. Kaivalya Upanishad says that Prajaya, that is basically the way that popularity, more and more people have to accept it. And I see that even in the field of yoga also, the same rat race goes on saying that more and more, how many papers have you prepared? How many papers have you published? Have you published one paper to see? In fact, an American researcher, he gave a very important idea saying that if a researcher is producing more than two papers a year, that means not doing research, is only publishing papers. Research is not going on. A researcher is somebody who really does something epoch making research. It's not that in the number of papers, the way that you produce the idea that is important. Incubate this idea. That idea has to incubate it and then come out into the whole manifestation. That's something which is very important. But I see you all the time, just rat race is going on. Somebody asked me what's wrong about rat race. I said, problem of rat race is even if you win, you are still a rat. You cannot even become a cat. And in fact, that's why today also world, they put the targets even for the professors that you have to produce so many papers. All this, I feel what an unfortunate thing it is. So karmana prajaya dhanena vittena ashana asti. That's what is basically the way that Yajnavalkya, when he gives to uh, uh, his wealth is given to his wives. Two wives were there, Katyayani and Gargi. And they says, what is Katyayani says, what is this you are giving me? I said, whatever money that I had, I gave it to you. What is happening to you? He said, I'm going to go in search of truth. Then that means you can't find the truth in this Vitta. He said, no. Then she laughs and says, you don't find truth in this particular money and then give me that money. Do you think that I'm a fool? I'm better than you. I go along with you. See, that's what dhanena. But what is that which really gives the idea? Is that tyage naike amritatvam. Amritatva is in the tyaga. Tyaga of the material, when you leave it, then you go beyond the level of material. Tyaga of all these sensory organs and all those things, that you rise above that level. It's not basically giving up. Tyaga is rising above that level. Once you rise above that level, and that's what is basically the idea of growing up. Tyagena ke amritatva manashu parena nakam. That's what is the way he says that the Naka, that is Svargaloka, is that somewhere there. And that means beyond that Svarga, when you go that. Svarga is also nothing but the heaven that we think is nothing but a extension of this world that we have. Everywhere the concept of Svarga is extension of this world. Here, whatever that you get, 100 times more that you get there. Here, what you cannot do it, there you can do it. Is that the way that is life? Life is not going to be in this rat race. Life is not going to be this, but it is gone to beyond that. This awareness will come to only when you come to that. When you come to this awareness, then only you come to the Vanaprasthashrama. But at the same time, very important aspect is that you rise above this level, not because this is bad, not because of this is inferior. It has its purpose, it has a value for that, and you rise above that level. And that is what again and again we have, even in the Yoga Sutras also, it says this is supposed to be the pratyahara. It does not mean ahara is bad, but you turn round about turn from the ahara. Ahara is wonderful. It's like the way pratyahara also, the way that Patanjali gives us. When he says that, he did not say that pratyahara with an idea of that world is horrible, world is place, world is bad. Therefore, you turn around. It's not that way. Unfortunately, what happened, a lot of people have given this kind of an idea that grasthashrama, gruha, these things, material, all these things are negative. It is not like that it is negative, but the idea is that it's such an extraordinary, wonderful world that is there. Whatever that you see in this world is so beautiful, so extraordinary. It's all created by the human being intelligence, by the nature, all that is there. Now, what has to happen is that if such an extraordinary, wonderful world is there, what is there behind it? What an extraordinary thing that's behind it. Look at the way from the way that we have grown from a caveman all the way to today's man, is how much of that involvement that is there from the human being. And that is something which is behind it, and how much more it can be there. In fact, it's a very beautiful story that comes up. There is one priest who was there and he was giving a talk, and all the audience was sitting there. He says his name was Father Wright, and Father Wright said that now science has produced enough. Science has come to the ultimate. Science has come to the peak. Now there is nothing else science can do it, because all that science has to do it has already done it. Now all that is, now we have to go to the God. So therefore he was advocating everybody to, because he was a father, come to the church, father will take care of the rest of us. Some two young boys were there at the back in the church, and then they said that no, science is not yet complete. Science can progress further. What science can do it? We produce this, we produce chemistry, we produce this and all that. What else can do it? Yes, there is plenty to do it. Then by that time, actually, there was some bird came flying on the sky near the window. And then the priest, right, he angrily said, can man fly like a bird? She created the birds to fly. And then these brothers said, yes, man can fly like bird. And that has to do it. No, 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 he can never fly. And these brothers were the Wright brothers who produced aeroplane. And they were the children of the same father who was there. His father was Father Wright, and the children were the Albert Wright and the Wilbur Wright. These are the people who produced the aeroplane. That means basically science can produce, science can do so many things. This infinite way it can go on. So that is what basically the way the world is so much it can produce. It produces so much because that at the background There is some infinite background that is there. When do you know about that infinite background? This world that what you see outside is like the waves of the ocean. Waves are wonderful. You are sitting by the side of the ocean and then see all these waves. You are enamored by the waves. We are extraordinary waves and all that. You enjoy the waves. But have you ever thought about all these waves come because the depth of the ocean? The same water you take it in your cup does not have these waves. The waves come because the depth of the ocean. But when do you know about this depth of the ocean? When do you plunge into it? When you turn inwards. And that inwards is not with the idea of the world is horrible, world is bad. Unfortunately, many people, while translating about this pratyahara, they said world is a horrible place, world is a temporary place. Hunger is temporary. I mean, the food appeases your hunger temporarily, etc., etc. Or even at least it appeases hunger temporarily. It's a wonderful thing. But that it's not because that it's something unwanted, but because that we want to go the background behind it. And this journey to go behind is something which Tyaga. Tyaga means only to see that how you can go deep inside. Unfortunately, a lot of people put it in such a negative way about the world outside. As horrible, this is there. Our Indian cultural, Indian system, Sanathana Dharma, never did it that way. It took it in a positive sense. World is a wonderful place of God. He has created such a extraordinary, wonderful creation, not only for today, it has been coming from ancient times all the way today for another eternity can continue to grow. And this can happen basically because what's there behind it? And a journey of going towards behind that is what is basically the way Tyaga. Tyage naike amrutattva manusham. There is something which is like, for example, a circle, several circles we draw, but the circles we draw because there is a center behind it. The center is not there, there's no circle. And let's go back to that center. And this journey of going back to the center is not so simple because we have so much of involved into the world outside, extraordinary, wonderful world outside. So we need to be able to see that we saturate ourselves from the world outside and turn inwards. After saturation, we turn inwards. That's why it is supposed to be you fruit yourself to see that you turn inwards. You leave the world behind. Urvarukameva bandhana, mrityormukshiya mamrutat. That turning inwards is what is supposed to be the way that vanaprastha has to create. That's why it is such a beautiful balance that a vanaprasthi has to have is that he has to give value to the world outside, respectability to the world outside, see that how that they are doing. You always appreciate, you always all the development that is they involved in that, but at the same time, you see that always have an eye that there is something which is amritattva at the background of it. And this Paredanakam Vihitam Guhayam. It's so secret inside. That's why it is Vijnana. Vijnana is that jnana which is hiding behind. The waves are the things that you see outside. Jnana, Vijnana is something which is the depth of the ocean can give. The ocean depth is so much, a Himalaya can be hidden inside that. So therefore, when does a journey starts? And the journey starts by trying to go into this. We have to we have such an extraordinary, wonderful structure created where you do the things, as I said, that not for the sake of money, do the things for the doing. That's the reason why a vanaprasthi or the person who has crossed that boundary, now he goes to the temple. Does the temple service work in the temple? Go to the ashram. Does the ashram work? Go to the orphanage. Does the orphanage work? Nothing in return that he expects. Because basically, when you are not expecting that, then the work becomes beautiful. Work becomes extraordinary. Therefore, Vanaprasthi, when he does an activity, he enjoys that activity, what he's doing. It may be simple sweeping the temple. It may be simply getting the water into the temple or getting flowers for the temple. You know, there's such a joy in doing that because you're not expecting anything in return. One small little story, then I'll stop here, my discussion. And Birbal was there with Akbar, and Tansen was there with Akbar. And one day Akbar said, Tansen, You're such a wonderful singer that you are. You sing so extraordinary. I don't think anybody can sing better than you. You are the best. Tansen said, no. I also learned from my guru and my teacher, Ram and Ramdas or something, that is his name. He said, oh, he is so extraordinary. He's so extraordinary. Hurry, if you say he's so extraordinary and he said that in front of him I'm nobody, I must listen to it. Why don't you bring him here? He said he will not come. He will sing, but he will not come. Okay, then take me to him so that I listen to his singing. I said, the moment you go there, he will not sing. He will not sing for anybody. Array, you say that you cannot bring him here, I cannot go to him. And then what way I should learn? I should listen to him. I must listen. And you said he sings much better than you. Then he says that you cannot, you cannot listen to him that way. But there is still one small little hope that is there. And if you can agree with that, I will provide that. What is that? Every full moon night, he goes to the Yamuna, by the banks of Yamuna. Middle of the night, he'll sit there and sing beautifully. But the moment he knows that somebody is there, he will stop singing. Then what to do? We have to go there much before it becomes dark, hide inside the forest by the side of this Yamuna, and then no making no noise, no nothing, giving no indication that we are there, and wait for him to come. And if he comes, our luck if he comes, our luck if he sings, then you should listen. Maybe several attempts he made, I don't know. But then one attempt, they were sitting in the forest like that by the side of the Yamuna. And middle of the night, then he comes and then he sings. Ah, Akbar hears that singing and comes out and says that, Tansen, you're so true. His singing is something which is so celestial. And you can't sing like that. What is that difference between you and him? Why can't you sing like him? He said one thing, that I sing for your favor, whereas he doesn't sing for anybody's favor. Singing he enjoys. He does singing for the sake of singing. Vanaprastha is somebody who does activity for the sake of doing an activity. And that's what is the real development or the growth or graduation. Because until Grasta, you're still doing an activity for the sake of getting something. We still add so many activities not for getting some remuneration or at least some recognition, something or the other will be there. But slowly you move away from that, doing an activity not for any gratification, not for any Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan, Padma, etc., all those things. To come out of it. And then that is basically the journey into the Vanaprastha. We have so much in plenty. We don't have to work. Somebody who has that courage can become like that. In fact, on this context, I have to recollect Shastriji. He worked as a chemistry professor and then next he was tipped to be the principal of the college. He said, look, I worked enough, I earned enough, and then decent life I have. All I require is one dhoti and kurta. That's all the simple thing that I have. And if I leave this job, somebody youngster will take that job. I don't want to work anymore for money. I'll take voluntary retirement. And I will spread the Vedanta message. He said that. And he gave that proposal. He logically put that in front of all his teachers who were there. Said, why not we
I guess he lost his connection.
Yeah, I think so.
I guess we can go on to Vanaprasthara.
That's an indication.
Yeah. Okay, I'm signing off. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, 1 second, 1 second. I think I thought of sharing an anecdote about Raghuramji. Uh, he was mentioning about as, uh, school days when his father was doing everything free. And these people, wherever they used to go to any shop and things like that, they used to take it, and then when they used to ask money for the money, the shopkeeper said, "No, no, no, your father has taken care of all of us. You don't have to give pay money at all." So that continued, that particular thing, as long as they were in, I think, Khammam. They were in Khammam, and they did not pay any money. So after his pre-university, he joined the Regional College of Engineering in Bhopal, and he wanted a notebook or something like that. He went to the shop and took the notebook and started walking away. And then that gentleman said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And that is Raghuramji himself was telling us in Detroit, back in Detroit. Okay, I think that's what it is. I'll bye now.
Yeah, I think we can all leave. She dropped a message in the group that I will be continuing next week. So